This channel is supported by Truefire. Truefire is an online library of
you can get the Truefire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing. So just jump and do that if you're looking for the best price that you can get Truefire All Access for. The Klon versus Behringer case was recently, like at the end of September, dismissed. Now, this was news to me. Tom sent me a Patreon email correspondence thing. Anyway, just said, look, there's some news on this, and I checked online. So the Justia is, I think, where you can see cases in the US, and then Pacer is where you can get into a little bit more detail and see what's happened. I did do that for the amendments. We'll get into a little bit of some of the weeds in this video, but you can see that it's been dismissed, and without any other information about what has happened. KDH sort of speculated that this has been settled out of court. So there's, I guess, two things that may have happened there. Either, hopefully, I hope it's this, Behringer may have come to Bill with an agreement, which is either, you know, we're going to give you a chunk of money, or, you know, whatever it might be, some royalties or something like that. Who knows whether it is that. And probably, if that is the case, it might have come with an NDA, right? Or Bill has just decided, maybe with some guidance, that actually it's not worth pursuing. I guess we don't know until we know whether that is. But is the story really over? Let's look into this. I'm going to do some playing with one of these now, and I guess we'll talk about some of this stuff. So the reason for me that I felt like I couldn't be sure that this was over was because in the amended lawsuit, what Mr. Finnegan had suggested was happening was that Behringer had changed the name on the website and changed the name that their you know, retailers were using, but had not recalled the original stock. And so people were buying these things out of speculation, because there'd been like price speculation and, you know, being able to sell the original lawsuit pedal for extra on eBay. So they were buying the renamed Centara because of this confusion. Now, based on that amendment to the case, Behringer responded again and changed it to Zentara. But what is actually happening, I needed to test this, okay, and that has confirmed exactly what Bill was saying, rather incredibly. So this is, I bought this as a Zentara. This says not even Centaur on it, it says Centaur. So what is in the box? Let's find out. And that is an unexpected surprise, really. It's a Centaur, which to me goes to absolutely kind of prove that everything Bill was saying was right. That's honestly quite disappointing. I was expecting it to be a Centara, but that's just a Centaur. So, well, I don't know. Yeah, so essentially, I bought that one under the name Zentara, expecting a Centara to come, not a Centaur. So there's, I presume, loads of these things which were infringing the initial trademark, and there's going to be essentially no real outcome of this, which is negative for, well, I guess Behringer hopefully have paid him some money, but you know, it's not stopped them actually selling the thing under a Centaur name. So that's really, I wasn't expecting that. Quite disappointing. The original box that I bought before these were, well, just as the lawsuit was happening. So these were announced a long time ago in like November of last year. They didn't hit the shelves for 6 months, maybe something like that. And then the lawsuit hit, which prompted Behringer to change the name to Centara and change this bit here. And with it in mind, what I was assuming was happening was that they would then return the like Centaurs with this name, or something like that. But clearly that's not even happened. It's just they're continuing to sell them under that same name. So there's not, like I was expecting, maybe there'd be like a cost to Behringer of, you know, infringing this trademark, where at least like they might have to recall some products, and there'd be some blowback in that regard. But it looks like, frankly, not even that. You know, you can just still sell it, say that on the website what you're going to be getting is a Centara or a Zentara. And are people going to mind if a Centaur comes through the post? Does that break some sort of other trade rules? Because, you know, if I bought a Zentara, should I be expecting a Centaur to arrive? This is all a little bit shady, right? I'm kind of surprised by it. I guess this is potentially why people don't bother to bring lawsuits against companies in this way, because it's kind of like, well, they just do whatever they want. And even in a case which is pretty rare, where Bill Finnegan actually has a trademark for the pedal, and actually has some sort of things that should have been protected, it looks like essentially if you're a big company, you can do whatever you you please. I guess that is kind of the case in most of the world anyway. So I thought that was going to be the end of it. I was expecting to unbox a Centara today, but I don't know where we go from here. Anyway, I thought it was important to actually do that as a test, just to see what was going to come through with this box. And yeah, disappointing. So I now have 2 Behringer Centaurs, so one day I'll be a very wealthy man from this. Anyway, if you do want a Centaur, then I've got one going begging. The pedal itself sounds good, and it seems good quality for a Behringer piece of kit. Much like many other clones, this was the disappointing thing for me, that of all of the disappointing, you know, years that Bill Finnegan has essentially had what he created, you know, be cloned, and lots of people potentially making, you know, millions off of it over the years. When you think about like the J Rocket Archer, for example, and you think about even like the not a Klon, which, you know, has sold millions of dollars worth of product. You know, Bill Finnegan doesn't see a cent of that, I presume anyway. And all of the clones that have come out, like the Ryra, what is there? There's all of the Mosky Golden Horse stuff, the original EHX Soul Food, pedals that have been around for decades, And finally, it seemed like someone had come along and actually broken like the thing that you pay money to protect. So Bill Finnegan is, you know, paid to register a trademark in the US, with it in mind that that would actually protect him in some way. But it turns out that if you're Behringer, you can pretty much do what you like. And even say that you're going to be changing the name to Centara and your retailers are still sending out a Centaur. It's an interesting little case study, I thought. So I thought I should try that. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comments. I presume that's going to be about the last we hear of this. I'm sure it's not going to be the last time that Behringer will, you know, copy someone else's circuit. On the flip side, you know, does this make what is an unattainable circuit available to a few more people? Yes. Were there already plenty of Klon clones already available? Yes. I guess it's just business at the end of the day. But when it's something that's like the Klon situation, where it's a guy that is been just in a room, I think it's in his kitchen, right, making clones for decades. You know, if you wanted a cheaper version of that, there was the official Klon KTR, which you could get occasionally as well. Those were available in small runs. Did we need Behringer to do this? I guess maybe not. Is it the first mass-manufactured Klon? No, the EHX Soul Food was the one that did that. So it was more just a case of like, this is the first time that we could see someone actually bringing, like in real time, a case against Behringer, and it's at this point now dismissed. And even everything that he kind of said in the amendments, which was that people were buying the Centara, speculating that maybe what might come in the post would be a Centaur, all of that has kind of been completely right. And yeah, hopefully he got his money out of it. But that seems to be the end of that now. Cheers for stopping by.